Now, I've titled this page, The Healing Power of Mediumship, because that's what it's all about. And for me, I fundamentally believe that all forms of mediumship are either healing or helpful. And evidential mediumship, the mediumship we see on our platforms and we do in private sittings, I believe evidential mediumship is healing to one or more of the following: either the communicator, the recipient, or both communicator and recipient, and in a demonstration to other people within the audience. Because Spirit are clever. They're not just working with one individual recipient. They know the needs of that audience. And within the messages that are given, there are messages that are meant to touch other people. Or you may hear a great deal of a contact and say, that sounds just like my dad. It's not quite my dad, because I know certain bits didn't fit, but it sounds just like them. Their personality, the problems they created in the family, even down to the message at the very end, the message of remorse about the problems they created. I'm sure that's exactly what he's communicated in the past as well. So what you end up with is you end up with a message that reminds you of your own loved ones, that brings forward a message that applies to you also. So we have that healing benefit, if you like, that can be cascaded out and pushed out from the messages. So even though we may only deliver 5 messages in a Sunday demonstration, I believe those messages are destined to touch far more than 5 people. I estimate at least 2 to 3 times that many people should be touched by aspects of it. Does that make sense? Especially emotionally, the emotional aspects of it. I also believe there's an unwritten natural law that spirits cannot communicate negatively through a medium. Say a spirit wants to come here and give someone here a hard time, just tell them that I don't like you, never liked you, you're a miserable old so-and-so, and then go. Now, is that helpful? Of course it's not. So I've never ever seen it done in my own mediumship and the mediumship of those who I know who've been trained to a very high standard. I've seen it done by some people who claim it comes from spirit, but I know it doesn't. In general, the rule is that, if you like, the team of people in the spirit world, they're like a set of bouncers. Who are you here for? What's your message? No, I'm terribly sorry. You have to go away, and when you want to deliver it properly, then by all means come back. But at the moment, we can't possibly allow that. No, sorry. So I believe that the unwritten natural law, if you're not in a good place yourself in the spirit world, and you're not coming forward with healing intent, or you're not coming forward to help people, it's almost like, I'm sorry you can't communicate. We won't allow you to use our medium. Does that make sense to you? And I think that's really important. So we have to remember that. And mediumship for me is based on love. All mediumship works on love. Our loved ones come back to us because of those bonds of love that tie us together. They come back to us because of that love for us. And that love, like life, can never die. And love fuels mediumship. Gordon Higginson used to speak that we should radiate love, because it's that love that we radiate out to the people in our audience and the spirit world that draws spirit back to us. It's that power of love that does it. And love is the fundamental basis of healing. Would you agree? I think so. So all communications are based on love, and I believe all communications have to have that positive intent. If someone's coming forward from the spirit world without positive intent, I don't think it's going to happen. So you don't see it. So if you're giving a message that's negative, you've got to ask why. Where's the negativity coming from? I would say it's coming because your own mediumship is not advanced enough to understand what's happening. Maybe you're given evidence of how they were when they were here as a message, which is not the case. Maybe there's a greater depth within it that you're not picking up upon. So I think it's important we all understand this. And the thing is, when we look at mediumship as healing, we have to remember that it has a hugely profound power to heal. I can't overemphasize this strong enough. The power of mediumship to heal is amazing. When you have someone who you feel never loved you come back to you and tell you they do, what healing can take place. When someone you believe you've lost forever comes back and communicates with you, how healing is that? How comforting is that? How uplifting is that? It's wonderful. But the thing is, we have to remember that the medium is responsible for creating the conditions. And how do we do it? For me, I believe we need to work from a fundamental point of love and compassion. Our mediumship has to be underpinned by love and compassion. Compassion for everybody. Compassion for everybody in front of you, compassion for everybody in the spirit world. Always remaining non-judgmental, never judging anybody. And for me, I believe a medium has to be emotionally neutral. We are receiving emotions from those in the spirit realm. We can't possibly allow our own emotions to come into the play, because then how will we know, are those emotions from spirit or are they ours? Just as we quell our mind to stop our mind interfering, we have to learn to quell our emotions to keep our emotions out of it. We want our emotions completely out of it, so any emotions we get projected at us are coming from spirit. Does that make sense to you? And then you'll know whose emotions they really are. So if you like, we're emotionally balanced, we're emotionally neutral. We're creating that sacred space for healing communication to take place. And really, I almost read that there as healing communion. And it is a form of communion. It's a form of sharing, a form of coming together. So we have to allow spirit to communicate with their loved one. Now that sounds really obvious, but I see a great deal of mediums who never allow spirit to communicate with their loved one. Spirit comes because they wish to connect to their loved one. They don't come because they wish to connect with you as a medium. They don't come so that you can show the world how good your mediumship is. They don't come so you can hold them to you, asking complicated questions and giving amazing bits of evidence so everyone in the audience goes, wow. They don't. They come because they want to communicate with their loved one. They come because they've got a message for them. They've come because it's so important that they reconnect and allow a form of healing to take place with their loved one. Does that make sense to you? So we have to allow it. And by allow, I'll talk a bit more in a moment about how we do allow it. But also we need to allow emotions to be expressed by all the parties involved. We need the spirit communicator to express their emotions to the recipient. And we need the recipient in that moment, whether it's a private sitting or whether it's a demonstration, we need the recipient to be able to express their emotions also. Would you agree? So we've got to give people the freedom and the space to express those emotions. And really we've got to give time for all of this to take place and for the process of healing to take place. Well, look, I've been working with you for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, that's your lot. I'm going to have to stop it there, I'm really sorry, that's it. I've got to move on. But does that mean we should work with someone for 25 minutes in a public demonstration? No. We've got to be aware of the purpose of the demonstration is to reach as many people as possible. And we have to understand all the different aspects. If it's a private sitting, it can go on as long as it takes. If it's a reading within a church, if it's within a demonstration, if it's a contact within a demonstration, there have to be a time limit. We can't stay there forever. But should we stop it at 10 minutes if it's going to take 11 or 12? No, let it happen. But don't put spirit on the clock. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Does it make sense? If the next one's 6 minutes and that one's 11 minutes, does it really matter? Not really. So we've got to give them time for it to take place. You all with me so far? Good. And really, these for me are the 5 simple steps to do mediumship to create healing. First of all, we build the right conditions. We make sure that we're working from that position of love, that position of compassion, that position of emotional neutrality. Ideally, we sort ourselves out. We can make ourselves the clearest possible channel. If you've got a stack of emotional issues, somebody from the spirit world can come forward and touch you and bring up your own stuff. So that's allowing your own emotions to start interfere, your own judgments to start colouring things. You need to remain entirely neutral. It's almost like we say you have to be the witness. First of all, you're the channel for the mediumship to take place, but also you're the witness to what's taken place, but you're not involved. You stay out the way. You stand to the side and just let it happen. It happens through you, but you're not part of it. Make sense? So we build the right conditions. That's the key. And I believe as well that if we can blend really, really, really well with spirit, if we can get a brilliant blend going on, the spirit world know that for you to find their loved one, they need to give you information about them that will guide you to one person. So I believe that as mediums, if we're working well enough and we're blended closely enough, we don't need to ask for any evidence, because I believe they'll naturally give it to us. I believe they'll be briefed by those in the spirit world. Well, he throws it out, so we're going to need some good stuff to enable you to get to the one person you're there for. I believe will be briefed already. I believe the communicator will know what's going to happen. And the communicator knows the message they're here to convey to their loved ones. They know what they want to say to them. But sometimes we as mediums don't allow them to do it. So I believe the best thing we can do is get the most brilliant blend we can with the communicator, to really strengthen that blend, to really get in our power, to really allow the closest blend possible to happen. And then just surrender and let it happen. Keep our own mind out of it. The next stage is we do need to identify who they are, establish their identity, and identify the correct recipient. But as I said to you, I believe they will give us that information needed to do so. I don't believe we'll have to say, what's your name, how did you pass, what's your birthday, what street did you live on, and what's your magic code word? Because they're already going to give us what's needed in the moment. Make sense? And as soon as we have this done, as soon as this part of the equation is done, we've identified who they are, we know exactly who we're with, then we need to allow them to be with and communicate with their loved one. I often say we should free the spirit to go and be with who they are. So say the spirit is here for this person here. For me, I'm holding them, I'm working with them, I need information from you. Okay, say they don't really give me everything I need. I may ask, okay, how did you pass? Okay, great, I'll give that. No one else, here we are. So then I will say mentally to the spirit, okay, thank you. I found where we are. Now you can go and be with your loved one. And I imagine spirit coming forward to be with their loved one. And in doing that, in freeing them to go and be with their loved one, what will happen is you'll still get a lot more evidence. The nature of their relationship will really become evident very quickly. If I often don't get exactly what the relationship is, as soon as I send them to be with them, usually the relationship manifests itself straight away. So you're still, they haven't left you, by the way, they're still with you, but mentally you're allowing them to be there to communicate with them. You're giving them permission to communicate with their loved one. And the message will at that point come forward. They will then start a dialogue of communicating with their loved one, and that is when the healing happens. But if we don't allow that to happen, if I say, no, 80% of this demonstration has to be about the evidence, so stay with me, give me evidence, a bit more, no, I know we're here, but I really want a lot more evidence, and more evidence, please. And a lot more than that, because I really want to be shown to be good tonight. Yes, more and more evidence. Oh, and by the way, what are they here for? Oh, and here's a quick throwaway message at the end. No, the healing that they came to do, you've just not allowed them the time. You've not allowed them the opportunity to be expressed to their loved one. It was all about you. You holding them to you. You chasing evidence from them for your sake, not for anybody else's. Make sense? Can you see what I'm saying? So by allowing them to go there, you'll still get evidence. In fact, it will still build on what you've already given. It will probably become even more evidential. It will bring everybody in, because we have the most beautiful healing dialogue starting to take place. And the healing will happen naturally, and everybody else will feel the presence of spirit. And that's what we want. As mediums, we talk about emotional evidence versus factual evidence. And the emotional evidence, the presence of spirit, comes from freeing them up to be there and present in the room. It comes from freeing them up to express their emotion. It comes up from freeing them up to allow them to do what they need to do to create that emotional impact, which will then naturally pull your audience into it. And sometimes we need to hear from spirit certain things. We need to hear them. You know, we can have a message, but if there's not something really special within it, was that really my loved one? But when they come and communicate what really matters to them and us, and we're touched emotionally, brilliant.